This is my gameplay and review of the action-adventure platformer set in a mythological Persian world. Thanks to Ubisoft for providing me with access to Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown ahead of release. This video is not paid for and these thoughts are my own. In this video, I'm going to be breaking down the game into several sections, starting with the gameplay and control. The game flows very smoothly and reacts to how you input, which especially shows when you have to solve insane parkour puzzles that require the perfect timed jumps in the perfect succession to reach the goal. Throughout the game, you unlock new modes of movement such as an in-air dash or a rewind to your previously set position, and you have to use these to constantly think outside the box on how to solve puzzles to progress down certain pathways, or up, or left and right. Sometimes you won't be able to even progress an area until you've gained a future ability that you don't yet know about, so that you can actually make it that high or past that broken wall, or that wall that looks like it can be broken but you can't break it. So there's a lot of these let's come back here later kind of vibes, which is a little annoying for the most part, but it is what it is. You just have to keep coming back to these locations and remember them. There is a system involved called these memories, and you can take a snapshot which actually puts a screenshot of that area on your map so that you can look at it and go oh yeah, I remember that, I can do that now. Kind of weird, but the world is that big that it needs it. The game somehow feels like the most open world side-scroller I've ever played, because you'll come across so many doorways that you'll lose track of which one you're trying to do in the first place. You take one doorway and there's three more. You take one of those and there's three more. You take one of those and there's three different directions. It's okay, where am I supposed to go? But you just kind of embrace the adventure and you go along with it. At least that's what I've been doing, and that's kind of cool. If I'm completely honest with you, I'm not usually a fan of platformer games, but this one has been exceedingly addictive and makes me want to go explore each of these areas. It makes me feel like a completionist, and completionists will love this game as there's so much to find and uncover. There's rare amulets that add buffs to your build and different play styles for how you want to play, or defensive things so that you can fight certain bosses while negating some of the skills or damages that they use. You can find skins through treasures that can change the look of your character. There's a bunch of side quests and lore items that you'll come across throughout the game. There's also crystals that are the main currency of the game that you get from finding little treasure rooms, as well as defeating enemies to get these crystals, which you'll be using to buy upgrades for both your weapons as well as your potions, and buying several other things. The game is recommended to be played on a controller, but I played most of it on a keyboard and mouse because I guess that's more what I'm used to. Each do seem to have their advantages. I just feel like mouse was more accurate than for me, because I could react quicker using it because it aims directly at my cursor. But it can also get distracting for when you're fighting some bosses and you're you have to try position where your mouse is versus where you are, and can sometimes make you feel like you're casting your special abilities in the wrong direction. The story will quickly rush you into the thick of it, and it will suck you up into a multitude of happenings, which for the most part has me confused on what's really going on the whole time. Though it seems like you do have to uncover the lore and these happenings of this world as you progress by finding unique items that tell you a bit of the lore, reading these special stone slates that you find that give you information about characters who lived here and what's happening with them. And you also meet a bunch of characters who will talk about things that are happening when you meet them. So it's kind of this, you start out with 0 pieces of the puzzle, and as you progress you get pieces of the puzzle. That's what it feels like. I have yet to finish the game, but I find myself slowly figuring out my place in this massive feeling world, slowly but surely. It's a bit confusing, but I'm getting there. I think that's part of the thrill of wanting to explore more, because you want to know why these things are like this, I guess. The graphics and sound are as you have seen throughout this video. The art style is really colorful. It's very intentional feeling. The areas do really come to life, or sometimes even death, because there's a whole multitude of different themes. I particularly enjoy that you're not stuck in one theme for too long, and the areas, as seemingly big as they are, you don't get stuck in them for way too much. It changes often enough to be interesting. Regarding the sound, the voice acting is great and high quality, though the characters do come across as very corny at times. It just makes the game feel more arcadey than serious. It feels as if I'm playing a comic book action story, which at times can be a great thing, but sometimes it ruins the serious undertones set by the story. At least this is how I felt when I was, listening to some of the stuff. I'm like, okay, I don't know if I should be sad or like laugh at, I don't know. The combat and the movement sounds are clean and feel intentional, but also powerful. I enjoy the way it gives that feeling of control, that you're the one who's in the action. You're the one doing this. And I think they really nailed that. Overall, I think the gameplay can be pretty challenging at times, if not the fights, definitely the puzzles you encounter to find treasures that may or may not even be up all of those tricky jumps that you gotta make to get there. It's a fun game. I think if you like platformers, this is definitely one you should have your eyes on. I think you just have to embrace the exploration that comes with it, because boy, there's a lot to explore and a lot to remember that you couldn't explore or didn't explore because you had to explore the other thing. I think this is a game that no two people are going to have the exact same gameplay. Like, they're going to do things in a completely different order. Some of the bosses have to be done in a specific order, and that's like normal, but there's so much other things that you can find and do at any point of time, whether you're there or not, or if you go back to that area or not. Like, there's so much to uncover, and I think that's probably the nice thing about this game, is that you can have an experience so different from somebody else's. What are your guys' first impressions of the game from what you know about it right now and seeing this video? Let me know in the comments down below, and also thank you so much for watching.